top there. Everybody please put a dot at x equals -4 and a dot at y equals +5. I'm going to be using red for those dots. Where is x equals -4? To the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone agree? Where is y is +5? Up, how far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does everyone agree? Yes. Connect that line and tell me the 3 pieces of information that you now know about that line. I haven't told you what those 3 are. I'm waiting to see if you can tell me the 3 pieces of information you know about that line. Michael, do you know 1 piece of information about that line? Nobody can tell me anything about that line, even though you're about to write an assignment and you're about to write a test on lines. Excellent. It's got a slope. What is its slope? Excellent. So I know that line has a slope of 5/4. And I'm working in red because that's a red line. Do I know anything else about that line from the lessons that you have done in this unit? You know the x and the y-intercept. What are they? The x-intercept is what? That's only half of a set of coordinates. What is the x-intercept? Other way around, Ayaka. -4, 0. What is the y-intercept? 0, 5. Please notice that that gives you the slope, doesn't it? Right? Some of you would, if I told you to give me the slope there, you would tell me it was -5/4 because of that -4. But of course it is not. Is everybody good? That is what you should already know. Yeah? Excellent. Now, make another dot at x equals +4 and y equals -5. And connect it. What do you know about that line? It's got a positive slope of what? What's that guy's slope? 5. Five over 4. And its x-intercept is 4, 0. And its y-intercept is 0, 5. Agreed? Everyone agree? Yeah. Now, do those lines touch? No. If I go up 5 and over 4, and down 5 and over 4, and up 5 and over 4, and down 5 and over 4, and continue that line, will they ever touch? No. Yo. Oh, yes, thank you. Will they ever touch? No. So what does that mean they are? Parallel, right? If they're parallel, what do they share? They share a slope because they will never touch. If the slopes were slightly different, then the lines would have to touch, wouldn't they? At some point. Everyone agree? But because they're parallel, they will never touch. Is everyone cool? All right. Now we're going to do two things on the next line. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw, this is going to be different. Draw the line, not just the dot, the line x equals negative 5. How do you draw that line? It will be interesting to me to see how many people can remember the 9th grade. And if you don't remember the 9th grade, it will be interesting to me to see how many people can figure this out based on your knowledge, your current knowledge. How many people have no idea how to draw this line? No hands went up. Excellent. So if I walk around, I will see 27 lines drawn on the paper, won't I?
I think a lot of them just working through this and trying to figure out how to do it.
I understand that a lot of you are. That's why I asked if anybody has no idea. Nobody put their hands up. So my next question was going to be, how many people are working towards it? Okay. I'll wait a bit.
I drew a line, but now I'm just asking stuff, so now I'm doubting myself and I'm feeling paranoid that maybe I got it wrong. Me too.
I got all day, brother. All right. People have had some time to think about it. How many people now have no idea how to draw this line? Meaning there's no line on your piece of paper. Great. What do you know from this question? You know x equals negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Now I said draw a line where x equals negative 5. What is the only way you can draw a line where x will always be negative 5? Straight up and down. You see, you did know, Avery. That is x equals negative 5. Lovely. Well done. Now, draw the line y equals negative 5. Now that everybody has seen how to draw x equals negative 5, everybody should have no problem drawing y equals negative 5. Has everybody drawn that? Where is it? It is a horizontal line through which dot? Where y is negative 5. Right through there. What can you tell me about those two slopes? The lines touch and they make what kind of angle? 90 degrees. This angle is perpendicular. All right? You may know that word, you may not know that word. It's no big deal. Perpendicular just means two lines meet at 90 degrees. So, the black line has a slope, doesn't it? What's its rise? How far up and down does this line go? Infinite. What's its run? How far across does it go? Zero. Everyone agree? And that's what makes that an undefined slope. Everyone cool? Yeah. All right. Now, what about the blue line? What's its rise? Zero. What's its run? Infinite. What do you notice happened to the values of each slope? They swap. Do we have a word for that when we switch a fraction? Starts with an R. Right. So now we know that if any lines meet at 90 degrees, their slopes must be reciprocals. Everybody cool? Let's see if anything else happens. Put a dot at 0, 0, and a dot at 4, I lie, 2, 6. Can you tell me that guy's slope? What is that guy's slope? 3. Everybody cool? Yeah? Everybody good? Okay. Now, put a dot 6, 0, and put a dot at 0, 2. And connect that line. Can't draw a line today. There we go. And then tell me that guy's slope. Nobody can tell me gray guy's slope. Negative 1/3. What is the green slope really? How should we really write the green slope? To be a rise over run like it's supposed to be. 3/1. Wait a minute. What just happened with the green and the gray slope? It reciprocated. Well, we know something about a reciprocal slope. A reciprocal slope, if lines are perpendicular, they have reciprocal slopes, don't they? But why is one negative and one is positive? They got to turn, don't they? So when it's this way, it's easy. But when it turns, you see that it has to be, one has to be positive and one has to be negative, correct? So now we can say that parallel lines have the same slope, meaning they'll never intersect. Perpendicular lines have what kind of slope? Two things happen to the perpendicular slopes. What? One was positive, one was negative. Right? So what do we call that? Positive and negative. What's the word we use in math? if one's positive and one's negative? They are what?
Opposite.
Opposites. Perpendicular lines have opposite and reciprocal. Okay? What does this tell us? If I have the M of line 1 equals the rise over the run. Agreed? Then, if it's parallel, this symbol means parallel. If that is parallel to the M of line 2, then what will I write here? Notice I change colors. Why do you think I changed colors? Why do you think I went back to red? Because it's the same. It's going to be rise and run. What's the thing you may have to worry about? You may need to simplify a fraction to make this happen. Is everybody cool? If they're parallel, then the slopes will be the same. If the slopes are the same, what does that mean? If they're parallel, the slopes are the same. If the slopes are the same, they are 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 minus 5 is 2. If the slopes are the same, they're parallel. If they're parallel, the slopes are what? The same. Perpendicular lines are different. If the M of line 1 equals rise over run, and they are perpendicular to each other, which is what that symbol means, then what is the M of line 2 compared to this one? Where will this one's run go?
Numerator.
It will go to the numerator. Where will this black rise go? Oh, that's supposed to be black. Run over rise, and it will be negative. That's what will happen with the numbers. Everybody cool? Now, if this happens with rise over run, does it happen with every other version of slope? Do you think? Yeah, it will. And here's what I mean. Let's make sure everybody gets it. Line 1 is 2/3. What's its perpendicular slope? -3/2. You guys try to fill this in, and then I'll put the right answers up. Anybody feel they have the second one ready to go? Anybody? Elijah, hit me. You're halfway there. You remember to change the sign, but what else do you have to do? This should be negative 7 over 1, right? So this would be 1 over 7. You got to flip it. Who's going to do 3? Yep. What about this one? 11 over 5. What about this one? No. Undefined. Nice one, Avery. And what about undefined? 0. All right. Does everybody get it? No matter what, as long as you know the slope, you automatically know every parallel line and every perpendicular line. Is everybody good? All right. Turn the page over. Read that question nice and quietly to yourself. All right. So what are our choices? ST can be parallel to AB. ST can be perpendicular to AB. Or ST can be neither. Everyone agree? If they're parallel, what does that mean for the slope of ST and the slope of AB? If they're parallel, what does it mean? They will be equal, right? Everyone understand? Everyone agree? Okay. How do I find slopes if I don't have a graph? I do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So the first one I'm going to do is ST. Who decides which is x2 and which is y2? You do. So, everybody decide. First person to tell me is the way we're doing this. The first one is y2. Okay. y2, so that makes that x2, so that makes that x1, so that makes that y1, right? So the slope of ST would be what? How do I write it? Slope of ST equals what? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is it? Y's go on the top. So what is it? Negative 1 minus 5 over negative 4 minus negative 1. What's negative 1 minus 5? Negative 6. What's negative 4 minus minus 1? Negative 3. Two negatives make what? 6 divided by 3 is 2. So now I know ST is 2, right? So if they're parallel, AB is going to be what? If they're parallel, AB is going to be what? If they're parallel, AB is going to be what? 2. If they're perpendicular, AB is going to be what? Negative 1/2. Now we check AB. The M of AB equals what? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What goes where? 1 minus negative 1. So Avery has kept her same pattern. x2, y2, x1, y1. Over what? 1 minus 5. What is 1 minus minus 2? What is 1 minus minus 1? 2. What is 1 minus 5? Negative 4. Can I simplify that fraction? To what? Negative 1 half. Is that an opposite reciprocal of that? So are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? They are perpendicular. This one. Perpendicular. Is everybody good? Okay, this lesson is really just about algebra, right? The concept is pretty easy. Flip the sign, flip the fraction. I want to know if this is a right triangle. If it's a right triangle, what does that mean? I have one corner that's 90 degrees, correct? So I have two options here. I could check all of these corners, couldn't I? That would require checking 6 slopes, wouldn't it? But I only need one corner, don't I? Is there a way I can cut down my workload? Aiden? Which is the hypotenuse? Is it A to B, A to C, or B to C?
A to B because it's always opposite.
No, how many times did I tell you never to do that? Because when I change the letters, how many times did I say memorizing Pythagoras is ABC is a bad way to do it? So that's no good. Is there another way I can cut down on my workload? I don't want to check all 6 slopes. Michael?
Don't you label them the same way though? One corner is A, one corner is B. It does not have to be the same letter, but they always go in order. So A is going to be the first slope, the first
Corner?
yeah, and
Okay.
then B will be the second corner, and then 2 will be the hypotenuse.
Okay. But you said A was a corner, B was a corner, and C was a hypotenuse. How can A be a corner, B be a corner, but then C be a whole side?
A is a corner, B is a corner, C is a corner.
Okay. Which corners?
A would be the lower right corner, and B would be the lower left corner, and then C would be the top.
Why do you know A is the lower right corner?
Because you go flip left.
You read right to left, you're saying.
No, I read left to right, but I vaguely remember that. No, I'm just
I know, you're spitballing. I know, that's the point. That's the whole point of the question I'm asking. How can we cut down our workload? Because all you hate doing algebra. So why would you check 6 slopes? I'm asking you if you can figure out a way to cut down your workload. And you're on the right track. It has to do with locations. That's your first hint. How can I use the locations of these points to help me cut down my workload? Where do I find those? On the what? On the graph. Where is negative 3, 1? Where's negative 3, 1? Left? How far? 1, 2, 3. And where's the 1? Up 1. Does everyone agree that that's A? Negative 3, 1. Yeah? Everyone agree? Okay. Where's B? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And down 1, 2. Does everyone agree that that's B? Everybody? Okay. Where's C? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. There's C. Does everybody agree? What is the only possible 90-degree corner? Right there. Right? So really, I only need to check which 2 slopes. I need to check the slope. Oh, that's not supposed to be highlighted. I need to check the slope of AC and the slope of BC. If it's 90 degrees, then what will I see when I check those slopes? What will happen to them? Opposite and reciprocal. Does it matter which one of these I check first? No. But I check them both, and if I find them to be opposite reciprocals, that's a 90-degree triangle. Everybody with me? Great, go. Slope of AC is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the slope of BC is the same thing, except it's going to be different values. What goes in here? If we keep Avery's labeling, what goes here? But you don't need to keep Avery's labeling. You can label them any way you want. One minus 4 and negative 3 minus 3. What's 1 minus 4? Negative 3. What's negative 3 minus 3? Negative 6. Negative 3 over negative 6 is a slope of positive 1/2, correct? Everyone agrees they got positive 1/2. Over here, what goes in here? Negative 2 minus 4 over 6 minus 3. What is negative 2 minus 4? Negative 6. What is 6 minus 3? 3. What is negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 2. Are those opposite reciprocals?
Yes.
So is it a right angle triangle? Yes. Triangle ABC is a right triangle. Yeah? Turn the page over. What do you know that you have? You know you've got AB, and you know you've got CD. Two different lines, correct? But I've got an unknown. Where's my unknown? It's in D, right? So, if those lines are parallel, what do I know about the slope of AB and the slope of CD? They're going to be the same. Do I have a way to find the slope of AB? What is it? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And how do I find the slope of CD? To check it against this one, right? So what would I write here? The same thing. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is the y2 and y1 for AB? 5 minus 10, right? That's making this guy y2. What's the x's? 3 minus 7 equals, what's the y2's over here? Two minus a over 0 minus 1. Now what should I do? I should simplify everywhere, right? What's 5 minus 10? Negative 5. What's 3 minus 7? Negative 4. What's 2 minus a? That stays the same. And what's 0 minus 1? Negative 1. What do I do every single time I have fraction equals fraction? Cross it. What's negative 5 times negative 1? Positive 5. What's negative 4 times 2? Negative 8. Minus, what's negative 4 times negative a? Positive 4a. How do I figure this out now? Subtract 8. Subtract it. Add it. What's 8 plus 5? 13 equals 4a. What's my last step? What's my last step? Divide by 4. What does a equal? 13 over 4. Why does that bother you? It's a fraction. Does it matter that it's a fraction? No, because it's 3 1/4, isn't it? Could you put 3.25 on a graph? Sure you could. You'd go up to 3, then you go 1/4 of the way to 4, wouldn't you? Everybody understand? Slide down. What if they're perpendicular? AB we already know AB's slope is 5 over 4, isn't it? We've already done that, yeah? But now I want a perpendicular slope. So what has to happen to that 5 over 4? Opposite and reciprocal. How do I make that a reciprocal? Pardon me, Avery? Two negatives, right? So how do I make it perpendicular? Negative 4 over 5, correct? So this would have to equal the slope of CD, correct? Well, do we already know how to do that? We know the slope of CD is 2 minus a over negative 1, right? We've already got it. It's right there. But it can't equal 5/4 anymore. What does it have to equal now? Negative 4 over 5. Does this look the exact same? So do I solve it the same way? I cross them. What's negative 1 times negative 4? What's 5 times 2? 10 minus what's 5 times a? Negative 5a. How do I solve that? Minus 10 minus 10. What's 4 minus 10? Negative 6 equals negative 5a. What's the last step? Divide by what? Negative 5. So a equals 6 over 5. Does that bother you? It does because it's a fraction. You all hate fractions. Should it bother you? No, because it's just a value. It's 1.2. Could you find 1.2 on a graph? You would go to 1 and then a little bit past it. Does everybody understand? What's the only new thing we did today? Parallel slopes are equal. Perpendicular slopes are opposite and reciprocated. That's it. Other than that, it's all the algebra and slope calculations we've already been doing. Yes? Okay. You've got work on page 194. Right? We're not going to take that up until Thursday. But also on Thursday, I want to see page 190 for marks. Your test on Unit 5, which is functions, is going to be now Wednesday. Tomorrow you'll try to get it moved, and I'll say, I don't care, and we'll have the whole dance again. And on Thursday you'll say, let's move it again, and eventually it'll be the end of June, and I'll give you 5 tests in a row. If we do it that way. And then a 6th test in a row because your final. And a 7th test in a row for your last cumulative. Okay? Okay. By the way, don't bother arguing tomorrow. Tomorrow you're getting a test. Go.